there could be someone still of threat around campus. I don't know. That doesn't really make anyone feel too safe around here.
Students are struggling to feel safe with no suspect in custody following the killing of 4 University of Idaho students.
Crews continue to search for Michael Vaughn in the backyard of a Fruitland home. Officials are working carefully to preserve any evidence found.
Another day like the last few days. Patchy morning fog and cold in the afternoon, but some changes coming by the end of the week.
The Turkey Bowl is more than a game of football. We're going to tell you about a local fundraiser, and we'll be joined live by the founder to learn how you can get involved.
You're watching Idaho's News Channel 7. This is Wake Up Idaho.
It is November 16th. Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Idaho. We have a lot of news to get to in this next hour. I'm Maggie O'Mara.
I'm Justin Corr. Let's get right to that news right now.
Many students have left the University of Idaho campus early for Thanksgiving break because they're fearful.
But those who are still there say they have lingering questions and they're exercising a lot of caution around campus. In just a moment, we're going to tell you about the most recent developments in the investigation there of the homicide of 4 students.
All right, before we get to that, we're going to check in with Jim because it is awfully cold out there. It's 24 degrees right now, Jim, and you can really feel it when you leave the house.
Really been a surge. It's like 4 degrees in the past hour.
I know, it just kind of sinks right into your bones, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, and that's why we're going through so much hot chocolate and hot coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Temperatures in the teens and 20s right now, 24 at the Boise Airport, but it feels more like 15 with a bit of a wind chill out there. Winds aren't all that strong, but enough of a breeze, around 5 to 10 miles per hour, to give us that wind chill. A 14 in Boise right now. It feels like 6 at Mountain Home and Twin Falls with the wind chill. Meanwhile, high pressure over the area, keeping it dry. There's some patchy fog out there around, especially near bodies of water where you find a little more fog. But the air stagnation advisory continues today and into tomorrow as the inversion remains in place at least for one more day. Then a bit of a change by the weekend. This afternoon up to 38 degrees, mostly sunny skies. I'll tell you more about what's coming in the weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, thank you for that. Well, today, autopsies are scheduled in the hopes of providing more definitive information on the exact cause of death of 4 University of Idaho students.
Police found the students killed near the U of I campus on Sunday. Yesterday, as part of their homicide investigation, Moscow police said investigators believe an edged weapon, such as a knife, was used. But they say as of right now, they have not recovered a weapon.
They also say investigators believe this was an isolated, targeted attack and there's no imminent threat to the community, but no one is in custody, they say. Now, we first reported students are leaving early for Thanksgiving break, especially in the neighborhood where this happened.
But for those who stayed, they're having trouble understanding how police can assure safety with, again, no one in custody.
Yeah, a lot of parents concerned as well. And News Channel 7's Andrew Bartline is in Moscow for us. He talked with some of those fearful students.
When we first arrived on scene earlier this week, we reported students leaving campus early for Thanksgiving break, especially here in this neighborhood. Now, some students have chosen to stay, but they're struggling to understand how a suspect cannot be in custody, yet police continue to insist that they're safe. Driving past the flowers on Highway 8 or walking near the Main Street candles, the reminders are scattered throughout Moscow.
It's been a little bit uncomfortable.
4 murders, killed by an edged weapon, such as a knife. No suspect in custody, but Moscow police insist the community is safe.
The police could be more forthcoming about details.
Students cut right to the chase.
Especially since, it happened so close to campus. And there's so many people here that could be potential victims.
Yeah, I don't want to have both my AirPods in because I don't want anyone to attack me or anything. I'm just being more wary of anything, really. It just feels a little bit dangerous.
Investigators are still hashing out the scene. Assisting agencies include Idaho State Police and the FBI.
Well, there was a lot of blood.
Kathy Mabbitt is the Latah County coroner.
It's a very sad scene with 4 murdered college students.
Mabbitt and police have not said when exactly the killings happened between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Police found the bodies after responding to a call for an unconscious person. Police tell KTVB that unconscious person is among the 4 murdered, shutting down rumors and speculation.
No, there are 4 homicides.
Police are looking for a suspect and say no one else is injured outside the 4 killed.
It's safe and no suspect. I'm just confused about what's going on.
I still don't feel entirely safe when I don't know all the information that, they probably do know, they're just not telling us.
Students responded to this uncertainty by leaving early for Thanksgiving break.
A week worth of school isn't worth it, if you're just gonna be scared every night.
And for those who stayed, they're not betting on blind trust. They want answers. Answers to explain those reminders they now see every day.
Like, there could be someone still of threat around campus. I don't know. That doesn't really make anyone feel too safe around here.
Just that statement of, don't worry, you're safe.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for you?
No, it definitely doesn't. It feels just like fake.
Police have not found a murder weapon. They continue to tell us that they cannot release information that would hinder the investigation or any subsequent prosecutions. They have since released a statement telling the community that they hear them, they understand concerns, and again, reiterating that message. They say this is a targeted attack and the community is not in danger. Reporting from Latah County, Andrew Bartline, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Hearing from those students, you can really feel their fear, and police say the limited information is necessary right now for their investigation.
They say releasing information prematurely or incorrectly could create problems for their investigation. That's understandable, and harm any subsequent prosecution. But we'll continue to update the story as we get more information. Elsewhere, crews will be back out this morning searching for Michael Vaughn. Authorities believe his remains are in the backyard of a Fruitland home.
Now, yesterday, it was the 5th day that crews were there excavating that yard. And Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff tells us they are in the fine-tuning phase, and they want to be very careful there to preserve any evidence they find.
However, he could not tell us whether they have found anything yet. He says they could be there for another week. Law enforcement and search and rescue crews have been removing dirt from this backyard on Red Wing Street since Friday, just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's home.
Now that dirt, in case you're wondering, is then sent off site. It's going to be processed and analyzed. They go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Huff says a credible tip led them to this house, and he added the tip came from someone living inside the home or someone inside that home. We're not exactly sure what that means. Chief Huff tells us they plan to search inside this house as well. That's going to extend this search even longer.
Now, police have arrested one of the people who lives in that home. There she is, 35-year-old Sarah Wunger was booked into the jail over the weekend, charged with failure to report a death. Police say they have probable cause to believe she knew about Michael's death and did not report it to police.
Chief Huff says she has not, I repeat, not been cooperative with this investigation. And court records show the judge ordered a competency evaluation for Wandra to determine if she's competent to stand trial in this case.
Michael went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood on July 27th of last year. He has not been seen since.
And Chief Huff could not tell us if any other arrests are coming, but he did release a lengthy statement on social media last night. Here's just part of it. He says, "We are encouraged. We remain hopeful that our investigation will lead us to the truth." You can see this full statement on the City of Fruitland's police Facebook page right now.
Let's transfer to weather now and take a look at this beautiful sunset from Idaho Falls. Thank you to Glenn Wright for sharing this. That's looking really gorgeous out there.
It is.
But cold. Again, I'm amazed that people are able to get steady pictures while trembling.
Oh, that's how we are when we come in the morning, Jim, because it's so cold out there. What's the temperature right now?
Right now it's about 24 at the airport, but in and around the valley it's in the teens to low 20s elsewhere. And just enough of a breeze to lower that wind chill down in the teens. In fact, mostly clear skies, a little bit of misty haze showing up here and there. And there is that 24-degree reading at the airport with southeast winds at 9 miles per hour. And the wind chill is at 14 at the airport. Meanwhile, we are looking at high pressure across the area, keeping things clear and dry, but also causing a strengthening inversion that has developed over the last couple of days and continues today, with air stagnation advisories out from eastern Oregon throughout the west central mountains, the Treasure Valley, and over into the Magic Valley. That cold air is heavy and dense and settles into the valleys, and it traps the cold air, it traps the moisture, it traps pollution, and that's why we're seeing our air quality deteriorate just a little bit. But otherwise, clear skies across the region. A northerly flow down through the northern Rockies, keeping some weak storms moving through with snow showers, mainly the east of the Continental Divide. Speaking of air quality, we had unhealthy air for sensitive groups at McCall earlier this morning. Now it's improved a little bit to the moderate range, also in Weiser, down into the Cascade, Garden Valley area, and into the Idaho City area. Moderate air quality, same for the Treasure Valley this morning, while over in the Magic Valley and up in the Sun Valley areas, right now they're reporting good air quality. So, Futurecast is showing that we do see the inversion with us for another day, but by tomorrow an Arctic front drops down through Montana, crosses the divide, doesn't have much moisture with it, but it will bring a few clouds our way by tomorrow afternoon and some isolated snow showers in the central mountains on through tomorrow evening. We won't see any of that precipitation reaching us here in the valleys, but it will help to stir up and break up the temperature inversion, and that will only result in a little cooler air coming in too by Friday. So the forecast for the Magic Valley, in the low to mid 30s today, but up to 37 degrees in Twin Falls with fair to partly cloudy skies through the afternoon. Well, the mountain areas will see mostly sunny skies and the mid 30s today. In these inversion conditions, we find temperatures almost the same or perhaps a little warmer in some of the higher elevations. Fog around McCall this morning, but burning off by afternoon. Temperatures in the low to mid 30s, Council around 36, and in the mid to upper 30s in the Treasure Valley this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. 38 in Boise. Tomorrow about 36 degrees, morning fog possible, clearing up in the afternoon, and then the inversion breaks up. A high of 33 on Friday, mid 30s into the weekend, lows in the teens. Next week, guys, if you're planning on traveling for Thanksgiving, you want to pay attention to the developing forecast because we're going to see some more storms coming in by Tuesday.
Oh, goodness. We'll be ready, Jim. Thank you. Well, as we've been telling you all morning, families and friends are remembering the victims killed in the quadruple homicide of 4 University of Idaho students. After the break, we'll hear from the family of one of those victims and the impact he had on his community. Continuing our coverage from up in Moscow, we are learning more about the victims and the impact they had on their community. One of the students killed was Ethan Chapin.
His parents, they are devastated and still trying to process what happened to their precious son. As Connor Board from our sister station King 5 in Seattle reports, they are remembering him as someone who had a love for life and a love for others.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. A call talking about your son who is now gone is not as hard as the call Stacy and Jim Chapin received earlier this week.
We're just trying to process it. It's not a call that you think that you're going to have to speak with a funeral home directors and the FBI and have it hit national news.
They received the call their son Ethan Chapin had been killed. They got the call from their other kids. Ethan was a triplet, all so close they even went to college together.
We have these other 2 kids that are very impacted by this, and they need to be lifted up and cared for.
They say Ethan was the comedian of the family and was a lover of country music and sports. What did Ethan like to do?
Anything. You name it, he played it, literally. Yeah. I think we just watched a thing from the university, spike ball champion, volleyball champion. I mean, he just literally would play and do anything.
They say this investigation and attention has been overwhelming, and they wanted to clarify what they say is misinformation floating around.
The things that are being said are 100% not true. There's not drugs involved. There's not some weird love triangle. Ethan stayed the night at his girlfriend's house, who was one of 5 girls who lived in the home.
They say his girlfriend, Xana Kernoble, was one of the other victims and that they were in the same room in the house. Ethan's parents say they just saw him last weekend at the University of Idaho's Parents' Weekend and felt so proud and at ease.
As we pulled out of Moscow, we literally were like, we've done it. We've literally done it as parents. We've created 3 incredible humans that will go on.
But now the future looks much different, and Ethan's future gone. Their focus is now on supporting Ethan's 2 other siblings and keeping Ethan's light alive.
If everybody was like Ethan Chapin in this world, it would be a better place.
For sure.
Just heartbreaking. And the university will host a vigil to honor the memory of these victims, but it is not going to happen tonight as we originally reported. It's been delayed. Blaine Eccles, the dean of students, sent out an email to students yesterday saying the vigil will be scheduled for when the students return to campus after Thanksgiving. That's the week of November 28th. Eccles also said this will allow more students to come, since right now so many students have already left the Moscow campus to head home after what's happened there. We're going to keep you updated as we learn the new date and time for that vigil. I know a lot of people will be interested in that.
Well, coming up tomorrow, there is a vigil at Boise State University that's going to be held to honor those 4 students who were killed. ASBSU posted the announcement on social media last night. This was originally set for tonight, but again, this has been moved to tomorrow. The vigil will be at 5:30 in the evening at B Plaza on the south side of the administration building. That's near Joyce Street and University Drive. The vigil will include a moment of silence, student speakers, and support counseling services, which is really critical to a lot of students and even parents right now.
It is, and everyone in the community is welcome. We will be right back.
From News Channel 7, time for 7 First Alert weather.
Well, Broncos game day is coming up on Saturday, but in Laramie, Wyoming, as the Broncos take on the Cowboys there, and it's going to be a cold one too. Buster Bronco may be the warmest person there with his outfit, because you'll want to take along your cold weather gear if you're headed there, because temperatures at kickoff only 21 degrees. Skies will be mostly clear, winds light, but enough of a wind chill to make it feel like the teens, and temperatures will drop into the teens throughout the game. Meanwhile, here in the valley, we're cold right now, about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. That will continue through the rest of the week and into the weekend. But next week, we warm up slightly as we head closer to Thanksgiving, because a series of Pacific storms will start moving in. And speaking of storms, not much going on across the country, although the storm that was over Chicago yesterday has moved into the Northeast with widespread snow up in New England and rain mixed with snow down into the Middle Atlantic region and lower New England. So a lot of activity going on there. For us, high pressure, inversion conditions, much like the last few days, with a high of 38 in Boise this afternoon.
Jim, thank you. We are continuing our series on the workforce shortage this morning. Yesterday, we talked about the shortage of restaurant workers and how that's raising the cost of your meals. Well, today, we're talking about a specific change some businesses are making, trying to retain or attract more workers and help drag them out of this shortage. We introduced you to Boomer Godsill yesterday, the owner of Godsill Company, which runs the Sunrise Cafe, among other local restaurants. He says in order to hire good employees, or any employees, it's about more than just the wage. It's about making sure workers feel appreciated and have opportunities, and allowing folks to figuratively buy into the business by allowing them to sometimes literally buy into the business.
One of the biggest things that we've got planned in the next couple of years, 2 to 3 years, is we're going to turn the Sunrise Cafe over to our employees and make it an employee-owned and operated business. And very proud of it.
Planning on making the Sunrise Cafe an employee-owned business. Employee ownership means a company's employees own the shares or the value of shares in their company, and not the public or a singular owner. Some of the bigger businesses around town that are employee-owned are Franklin Building Supply, Commercial Tire, who very recently made that change, and Winco. But does employee ownership really help with hiring and retaining employees? Well, according to a study from Rutgers, yes. Keep in mind, the workforce shortage started before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, this study showed that employee-owned businesses retained jobs better than other businesses 4 to 1. They also maintained their hours and pay better by a rate of 2 to 1. Godsill says, though, beyond helping the business, employee ownership can also be a way to thank those employees who helped Sunrise Cafe get through 2 or 3 recessions and the pandemic.
And so hopefully in the next couple of years, we can make this all happen, and they can see that all the hard work and everything that they've done for their staff, for their community, is really paid off, and they can actually have that opportunity that they may not else have had.
So employee ownership, just one significant way businesses are trying to attract and retain workers. But there's a big chunk of people out there who left the workforce because they don't want to work and don't need to work, which is helping to drive the whole workforce shortage across all industries. Who are those people? We'll tell you tomorrow. More Wake Up Idaho after this.
All right, let's take a look at traffic before we get to our morning brew, and you can see things are moving along really well. Also, look at the temperature. 19 degrees out there. It's cold. It's in the teens.
Now 24.
Oh, what's going on, Jim? What's the
I don't know.
temperature?
The airport temperature is 24, but it might be 19 here.
Okay, is that what's going on?
I think so.
Regardless, it's cold.
It is cold.
So just wear your puffy coat.
That's right. And you know what? Let's take a look at the morning brew. With all of the growth of the Treasure Valley that we're seeing, the Boys and Girls Club of Ada County, Idaho, wants to build a new clubhouse in Kuna. And now they are a little closer to making that happen. The organization got to get this, a $4 million lead donation from CS Beef Packers, one of the largest employers in Kuna. Thank you very much. The Boys and Girls Club is hoping to raise $10 million to build the clubhouse. The organization currently operates out of the old 4th Street gym in downtown Kuna, so this new clubhouse would give them a lot more space.
Sure would. My goodness, what a donation.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
CS Beef Packers. That's awesome.
Well, of course, I need to bring a little bit of holiday cheer here. And in the Treasure Valley, it's already landed. The city of Meridian now has a Christmas tree in Generations Plaza. It's a 4,300-pound Colorado blue spruce tree, and it will be lit on Friday, December 2nd, followed by a Winter Lights Parade. And I am so excited.
It's beautiful. We love all the holiday stuff, and we need that cheer.
And this is your favorite
right
type of
about
tree.
now.
It is actually. I love the blue spring because it's blue. How many trees are blue? Also, you saw those workers dressed in their elf gear and Grinch gear. Awesome.
Were they? I missed that part. Oh my gosh, that's
good. About 9% of Idahoans face food insecurity, meaning they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And about 10.5% of kids are facing that same food insecurity. That's why scouting for food was so important. This past weekend, the Boy Scouts of America Mountain West Council scouted the Treasure Valley and Twin Falls, picked up non-perishable food items. This is the 15th time they have done this. Food was then taken to the Idaho Food Bank. Food Bank serves about 184,000 Idahoans on a monthly basis. Jim, I know you're a big part of that.
Yes.
How'd it go?
Oh, you know, it was great. Just in my neighborhood alone, volunteers were picking up the food donations left on the porches, 7 pickups full.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Jim, that is so
Thank you.
impressive. Thank you to everyone out there who donated to that. Well, as many of you know, our beloved friend and meteorologist who we miss so much, Larry Gebert, passed away on April 1st, but he is still being recognized for the enormous charitable impact he had on our community. He was incredible out there. And yesterday, the Idaho Nonprofit Center hosted the annual Idaho Philanthropy Day Awards, and Larry received 2 honors. Larry was one of 3 recipients of the Outstanding Adult Philanthropist Award. And the major honor of the event, Larry received the Governor Cecil DeAndres Volunteer of the Year Award.
Wow.
You know how much Larry loved this community. He's been here for over 30 years. He helps so many charities, nonprofits, organizations raise millions of dollars over the years. He has done incredible work, and I know he's smiling down from heaven.
That is awesome. Well deserved. Thank you, Larry. Well, Boise City Council members have approved the construction of a new industrial park near a mobile home neighborhood. We'll tell you about that decision coming up after the break.
And a new pickleball court is coming to Kleiner Park, and Brenda tried it out. She's going to fill us in on what it was like to play and tell us about this new addition to the park. So stay tuned. All right, let's take a look at traffic right now before we get to more news this morning. We do have a lot to get to. 6:32, 19 degrees, and things are moving along pretty well out there on this cold Idaho morning.
And 24 degrees at the airport, depending on where you look, regardless whether it's 19 or 24 where you are. It's cold. Let's check in with meteorologist Jim Duthie, see if it's going to warm up, I don't know, at all.
To
a
the
little
30s.
bit, yeah. Like yesterday, maybe in the 30s again.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the wind chill that really gets you. When you step out there, there's a bit of a breeze. We'll take a look at that. Temperatures are in the teens and 20s across the Treasure Valley, ranging from 17 in Mountain Home to 24 at the Boise Airport, but more like 19 or 20 in most spots. Upper teens in the Magic Valley and single digits above and below 0 in the mountain areas. And like I said, a little bit of a breeze out there, offering a wind chill of only 14 in Boise. 6 above at Mountain Home is what it feels like. Same thing for Twin Falls with that wind chill. Well, high pressure over us is continuing to clamp down on inversion, so air stagnation advisories remain in effect for at least one more day, but we will see sunshine today and get up to about 38 degrees by afternoon with some changes this weekend. I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. Today, autopsies are scheduled in the hopes of providing more definitive information on the exact cause of the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Police found the students killed near the U of I campus on Sunday. Yesterday, as part of their homicide investigation, Moscow police said investigators believe an edged weapon, such as a knife, was used. But they say as of right now, they have not recovered a weapon. They also say investigators believe this was an isolated, targeted attack, and they say there is no imminent threat to the community.
And now on to another top story, the Michael Vaughn case. Crews will be back out this morning searching for Michael Vaughn. Authorities believe his remains are in the backyard of this Fruitland home. Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff says they are in the fine-tuning phase and they want to be very careful to preserve any evidence that they find in that yard. However, he couldn't tell us if they found anything yet. That we still don't know. He says they could be there, though, for another week. Law enforcement search and rescue crews have been removing dirt from the backyard on Red Wing Street, just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's home, since Friday night. They also plan to search inside that home. Boise City Council members have approved the construction of an industrial park very close to the Blue Valley Mobile Home Park.
They made that decision at last night's council meeting. For the past 8 months, Blue Valley community members have fought against this proposal to build 7 warehouses right next to their neighborhood.
Council members denied Blue Valley's most recent appeal, saying the proposal complies with city code. People who live in Blue Valley are concerned about potential environmental impacts, and they were looking for a legal way to address that, hoping to get some help from zoning.
There are roughly 200 homes in the Blue Valley Mobile Home Park. About 15 people who live there testified last night at the council meeting against the industrial park. And while council members approved the project, they did add a few conditions to try to help minimize any potential impact to Blue Valley.
Now, the mobile home park is located on the south side of town off Eisenman Road, right near the interstate. It is zoned as light industrial right now, but people who live there say that's wrong. They say it should be zoned as residential.
This is a 1.2 million square foot industrial park proposed by Lincoln Property Company. Developers say they want warehouses, trucking docks, tractor trailer storage, and room for semi-trucks. Residents are concerned about potential health effects, though, caused by diesel truck pollution.
Somewhere in government has failed these people. When we have a chance to make it right, we should.
Now, developers say they took those concerns into consideration. The closest building to the Blue Valley community is 120 feet away. They say city code only requires 15 feet.
Councilmember Patrick Bajan also told us rezoning the Blue Valley area just is not on the table. And there's a, quote, 0% chance of that happening at this time.
And he says even if the Blue Valley area was zoned as residential, that still would not prevent developers from building on the land next to them, since that specific land is zoned as heavy industrial and the design for the Eastport Industrial Park meets city code.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Woo, indeed. America's newest sport obsession is growing in the Gem State, pickleball. And a local park made it official to have a place where people can play that sport.
Brenda joins us right now to tell us about Meridian's new project, these beautiful new courts. And Brenda, you also tried pickleball yourself. How was it?
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed the sport. It's going to be probably my favorite one now. Justin, Maggie, yesterday, Meridian city leaders and residents gathered to celebrate the ribbon cutting for new pickleball courts at Kleiner Memorial Park. And for those who don't know, pickleball is considered a combination of tennis, badminton, and ping pong, and can be played both indoors and outdoors. And pickleball is now considered one of the fastest growing sports in the U.S., and more people are picking it up as a hobby here in Idaho. Pickleball Magazine says the sport boom started in 2010 with around 100,000 people playing. Now that number has grown to 4.5 million and counting. And City of Meridian Mayor Robert Simison says his goal is to continue to build community and hopes the courts can bring people together.
Yeah, pickleball is a growing sport in the country. I think it is for all ages. I think it's definitely taking hold in the senior community a lot, but everyone loves to play pickleball. I've been out, I've played. It's a great opportunity to move about and get that exercise. You're going to hear from the community, especially in the spring when people get back out and get active again, about how wonderful addition this is to the community.
And Mayor Simison says the city helped with landscaping after construction was complete, and he says they are working to get more courts built in other parts or parks in Meridian, but the timeline for those are not available at this time. And Maggie, Justin, have you guys ever played this sport?
I have. I tried
So
it.
much fun.
I tried it. It's a lot of fun. You have to hit it really hard, don't you, Brenda? It's a little bit different than tennis, but it's a lot of fun. And the court's a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So anyway, try it out. It's a great way to meet new people if you're new to the area too. So a lot of people playing right now.
And again, for all ages and abilities. So
yes.
Thank you, Brenda. Appreciate it.
All right now we're going to Brenda and I are going to go play together after the show. This is a really icy view in Canyon Springs. This is from Sue's Hume. It shows just how cold it is, and it is cold outside, 24 degrees. Make sure you bundle up those kids before you head them out the door to school today. Hats, gloves, the whole shebang, because it is cold, Jim.
It's really pretty, though. Every season has its own beauty, doesn't it?
It does.
You can almost feel how cold it is out there, though. And you can look at the sky cam right now and feel how cold it is, too. If you're getting ready to head out the door, bundle up, because we're starting to see temperatures dropping just a little bit around the valley. It's been around 24 degrees at the airport throughout the morning, but elsewhere, down in the teens and low 20s, with enough of a breeze out of the southeast to lower wind chills down around 14 or 15 degrees. High pressure does dominate the area from the coast over into Idaho, keeping us clear and dry, but the inversions have strengthened as well, and those temperature inversions have led to trapping the cold air and some moisture for areas of fog, as well as pollution. And so air stagnation advisories are in effect from eastern Oregon throughout the west central mountain valleys down into the Treasure Valley and over into the Magic Valley as well. And this is going to continue at least until tomorrow morning, and then some subtle changes taking place to kind of get rid of that inversion. But right now it's still in place, and a northerly flow bringing cold air and some weak disturbances down into Montana, mainly east of the Continental Divide, so they're not making it over into our area. However, a stronger one by Thursday will slip over the Continental Divide and begin to drop down into our region. I'll show you that in a second. Meanwhile, air quality this morning was in the unhealthy range at McCall. Now it's improved a little bit to moderate, and moderate in Weiser and into the mountain valleys from Cascade down to Garden Valley and Idaho City, and in the Treasure Valley, moderate air quality as well. But it's good over in the Magic Valley and up in the Sun Valley area this morning. Well, I mentioned that system dropping down into Montana that's going to be affecting our area. It'll slip over the Continental Divide as an Arctic cold front, bringing a few snow showers to the central mountain areas and a few scattered clouds down to the valley, but we will stay dry. However, when that colder air comes in, it will stir up the inversion, breaking it up and eliminating it as we head on into the weekend. So the 7-day forecast for us today calls for mostly sunny skies by afternoon and a high of 38 in Boise. By tomorrow, still about the same thing, but 36 in the afternoon with some sunshine, with clouds increasing later in the day, and then colder on Friday in the low 30s, mid-30s into the weekend with morning lows in the teens. Next week, be prepared for a chance of some Pacific storms coming in, a little bit better chance of rain and mountain snow, maybe just in time for your holiday travel.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. Going to be busy. Everyone's going to Grandma's house, right? Isn't that the plan? Well, next week also we want to mention for Thanksgiving, the 12th annual Charity Turkey Bowl. After the break, we're going to be joined by the founder of this bowl that's really grown over the years, and you're going to find out how you can get involved, play on Thanksgiving, and help a great cause. That's all coming up next.
Well, it's almost 6:45 on this Wednesday morning, and traffic appears to be moving along just fine, getting a little bit heavier as you get to some of the interchanges like I-84 and Meridian and Eagle. Watch for that as you head through this morning. Otherwise, dry and clear.
Jim, thank you. Hey, how would you like to play in a turkey bowl on Thanksgiving, surrounded by your friends and neighbors? Well, you can, and proceeds will go to a great cause.
Yes, you are invited to the 12th annual Charity Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving morning. I know a lot of you want to take part in these games, but you don't have immediate knowledge of a game going on that you can be a part of. The man who started this tradition is Jeff Wills of Do Work Realty, and he's here with us this morning to invite you to this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. My son has taken part in it since he was little.
Yeah,
since he was little.
Seen him grow up with
playing with the big boys.
Yes.
And so
never that little, but yeah.
well, he's going to enjoy it, and so are you. So let's start with Jeff. tell us about this charity bowl game and how you started it just with your buddies, really, one year.
Yeah, I mean, 12 years ago, just trying to have a flag football game in the morning. It's always been something I've done growing up, and then coming, getting to be a little bit older, we wanted to start another game, and it didn't really start with any implications of any nonprofit connection. It was just a flag football game on Thanksgiving, which I don't think there's anything more American than that, right?
It's so fun.
So it's absolute blast, but it's absolutely morphed into something bigger for sure.
How does that happen, and how did you get connected to raising money for nonprofits?
Just being a local kid, born and raised in Kuna, I've always had a soft place for kids in general, and so the Boise Rescue Mission's always been an awesome nonprofit, and so when we reached out to them, we really were asking them, there's so many food drives that happen, and this event happens on Thanksgiving. So that was kind of my first inclination, like maybe we could do a food drive thing. And in talking with them, they're like, you know what? There's a different gap that we need filled, and which has kind of brought us to where we're at. So.
Yes, so it's going to go to the tween and teen program because they're often forgotten about when it comes to Christmas gifts.
Yes, exactly. So basically they said, the Toys for Tots program everyone's so familiar with, that's absolutely amazing, kind of goes through the age of 12. But there's a lot of kids in these tough spots that see their younger siblings getting something for Christmas, but 13 to 18 kind of gets forgotten about. So they said that, you know what, not only does this program need some gifts and stuff for these kids, gift cards, something simple for them, but also they have an awesome after-school program, which has been awesome to kind of connect with them and talk with them about what their plans are after high school, introduce them to the world that I live in, which is real estate, and say, hey, there's so many options here if you ever considered it. So it's been awesome.
So important. That is wonderful.
So how can people get involved, take part?
So we're actually really excited to be combining with Mike Kleiss over with Saturday Flag this year. It has correspondence with the NFL. So SaturdayFlag.com is the best site to go to. You'll see our banner, that crazy turkey right there with the football. You'll see it around the screen. You can click there. And this year we're actually asking for a $10 registration fee. You can do that online. That will help us with kind of preparing the format for that morning. But if you can't, just show up that morning. We'll get you registered.
Oh, wow.
And,
7:30 a.m. for breakfast, and the game starts at 8:30.
Yes.
It's flag football, all ages, all families are welcome, $10 a person. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Jeff, tell us how this has grown from just you and your buddies to a huge community event.
Really, it's just been community involvement. I mean, it really was just me and some flags, and now as it's kind of gone on, we've been able to connect with other people in the community. A big thank you to Rocky Mountain High School for allowing us to play on the turf.
Yes, that's
really
where
cool.
it is, by the way.
So the venue went from a cold little middle school to now the awesome turf at Rocky Mountain. And along the way, we've just been able to connect to some really amazing people, which always happens here in the Treasure Valley. So we're thankful for those partners, and we're excited to see where it takes off from here.
Well, it is a great way to start the day. Get in a football game, have a little bit of breakfast, do some good. And I'm going to post this on my Facebook page so that you guys have all the information you need. We'll also put it online for you. But what a great thing to do on Thanksgiving.
Or just show up, Thanksgiving morning there at Rocky Mountain. Thank you so much, Jeff. More Wake Up Idaho after this.
Well, it's Wednesday morning, 6:51 a.m., moving along just fine out on the roads. The roads are dry, visibility is good. Take your time and watch for those slowdowns that will be developing. Meanwhile, we are in the midst of a meteor shower going on right now. The Leonidas meteor shower generates lots of shooting stars and even fireballs likely, and it will continue at least for the next couple of days, peaking on Friday. And actually, it will continue into December, even though we're at the peak right now. Game day on Saturday in Laramie, Wyoming. It's going to be a cold one if you're heading that way. 21 degrees at kickoff, wind chills in the teens. But at least today, we'll be seeing sunshine. Cool in the 30s, even cooler by Friday here in the valley, but warming up next week with some rain and snow moving in as we head toward Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you, Jim, for that. Time now for one of our heart stories. You're about to meet Kylie Welch, Teen Miss Idaho Voice for Autism. She's from Caldwell. Take a listen.
Hello, my name is Kylie Welch, and I'm your 2021-22 Miss Teen Idaho Voice for Autism. I have autism and I am loved, and throughout my life, I have experienced many obstacles with my disability, and I am different. I believe that you can be beautiful and amazing, no matter the obstacle.
Isn't she incredible? She was invited to the National Miss Voice for Autism pageant. It's in Alabama in December, but she needs our help to get there. Kylie really wants to represent our state and raise awareness about people with autism and what makes them so unique and so special. For Kylie, getting out in our community and serving others means so much to her. She also loves to ride horses. Her proud parents want to make this dream come true for their daughter. She has worked so hard to get to this point, to be able to go to nationals in Alabama. So can you help? Her GoFundMe is now pinned to the top of my Facebook page if you'd like to donate. And good luck to Kylie Welch. We are so proud of her.
Maggie, thank you. Let's talk some Boise State football now. The Bronco wide receivers are improving by leaps and bounds. Blue and orange pass catchers are reaching season and career highs each and every week. Wide receivers coach Matt Miller credits that to the competition within the unit. The younger guys like redshirt freshman Eric McAllister are making big strides, as you saw in Reno, stepping up and making big plays, and that's pushing the veterans on the team to follow suit. Now those big plays in practice are starting to show up on the field.
No, I think when one guy makes a play, the other guy wants to make a play. I mean, we're excited for each other, they're excited for each other, but there's also that little bit of competitiveness within ourselves. We're like, hey, Emac got one, hey, Billy, go get one, hey, Steph, go get one, hey, Latrell, Davis, go get one. And so they feed off that energy and they want to be competitive, and especially when they make those really nice catches, like, hey, you just had that catch, well, let me show you what I can do now.
There's just momentum building and everybody continuing to progress as the season goes, and just the confidence building with that progression as well. And then I think it's just, starting to show up more, just continuing to build that confidence and that swag on the field.
Broncos play at Wyoming this weekend. More Wake Up Idaho after this.
3 minutes before 7 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. Traffic is getting a little bit heavier, but still moving along pretty well. No reports of any slowdowns or mishaps other than the usual places. And the sky is starting to lighten up a little bit as we approach sunrise. And you can see the traffic moving along just fine along the connector into downtown. Do look for mostly clear skies today. The temperature on the chilly side, low 20s this morning around the valley, 24 at the airport, with wind chills around 14 degrees with that southeast wind at 10 miles per hour. Air stagnation advisory still in effect at least through tomorrow as the inversion continues, but that inversion will be weakened by Thursday, and then we're looking at drier conditions on into the weekend with temperatures cooling down as well. Today, though, 38 degrees and mostly sunny.
Jim, thank you. Here are 3 things to know this morning. Former President Donald Trump is running for president again. He formally announced his 2024 presidential bid last night. This comes at a time when analysts say he is politically vulnerable, though, even with some within his own party blaming him for Republicans underperforming in the midterm elections.
Today, autopsy is scheduled in the hopes of providing more information on the exact cause of death of 4 University of Idaho students. Police found the students near the U of I campus on Sunday. Yesterday, as part of their investigation, Moscow police said investigators believe an edged weapon like a knife was used in these crimes, but they say as of right now they have not recovered a weapon and they have no suspect in custody. They also say investigators believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on these students and there is no imminent threat to the community, but still many of the students have come home.
Crews will be back out this morning searching for Michael Vaughn. Authorities believe his remains are in the backyard of this Fruitland home. Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff says they're in the fine-tuning phase right now. Want to be careful to preserve any evidence. However, he couldn't tell us whether they have found anything yet. He says they could be here for another week. Law enforcement and search and rescue crews have been removing dirt from this backyard on Red Wing Street, just 4 minutes from the Vaughn's home since Friday. Chief Huff tells us they plan to search inside that house as well. We'll continue to update you on all those big stories throughout the day right here on KTVB and on KTVB.com.